So Andrew Tate versus Chase DeMoor just got very interesting. The size difference between these two is huge. Chase DeMoor is way bigger than Andrew Tate is. But what is interesting and a big thing that was actually brought up in the press conference, and I don't think it's actually been said before, but Chase DeMoor said that he's been put on a weight limit, a 40-pound weight limit, something like that. Um, and I get it in ways, but I don't get it in ways because it's a heavyweight fight. It's a heavyweight fight, but again, Andrew Tate is clearly a lot smaller than what Chase Moore is, though. But look, I get why Jake Paul wants to do this against Anthony Joshua. Like, that's completely understandable because it's Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. But Andrew Tate versus Chase DeMoor, I don't see the need in it, to be honest. I don't see the need in it. I feel like it takes away a lot of what Andrew Tate's been saying, "Oh, I'm going up against a guy who's bigger, younger than me," all that. It's like, it does take away a bit from Chase Moore. Then we might be a little bit weight drained on the night. He is Chase Moore, he probably will be. And fight experienced overall, obviously Chase Moore's been way more active these past few years. He's had, I think he's 9-3 now. His influence record is 9-3. Andrew Tate hasn't had a fight since 2020, so, and it was kickboxing. This is his first ever boxing fight. Um, so boxing wise, Chase Moore's got the experience, but let's be real, it doesn't take a genius to work out that Chase Moore hasn't exactly got the greatest boxing ability in the world, but he's getting better, he's improving, and he's got a lot of advantages over Andrew Tate in this fight. He has got the size. Um, you know, because he's got the size, probably does have the power. He has shown power in his fights, and I think that's what's got Chase more far. He doesn't have the best technique, but if he hits you, it hurts you. So, yeah, but with Andrew Tate, he's gonna have the speed as the smaller guy. He's got overall way more combat experience than what Chase Moore has. Um, and overall, Andrew Tate's pretty awkward, but at this level, I don't see why Chase Moore has to have a weight limit. You know, Tate said in the press conference, "Oh, what a weight limit in a boxing fight." It's at heavyweight, though. This is a heavyweight fight. And this is not Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua. Andrew Tate's the favourite in this fight. I don't see the need in having to bring Chase Moore down in weight. He then said, "Oh, Chase, well, you signed the contract," but of course he did, though. Of course he did, because a lot of this is just all about the money. So of course he signed the contract. Otherwise, there probably wouldn't have been a fight if he didn't. And look at how big of an opportunity this is for Chase DeMoor. So yeah, things that were brought up as well in the press conference. Chase DeMoor, wow, we already knew. Chase DeMoor wanted 10 rounds. This fight is 6 rounds. I actually think it is better off it being 6 rounds. Like, who really cares about seeing Andrew Tate and Chase DeMoor? A 10-round fight. It won't go that far. And I think 6 rounds makes us more likely to see a much higher pace, which is what we want to see, really. This isn't a proper pro fight. 6 rounds, I think, is definitely the right thing to do. It's for the Misfits belt. It's not for the heavyweight championship of the world. It's not for the WBC, WB. It's not. It's not for. It's not an undisputed world title fight. So 6 rounds, fair enough. That is fine. I agree with what Andrew Tate's done there. I think it's definitely better business wise as well for 6 rounds, and I think for entertainment value, I think especially for more of the influence audience, 6 rounds makes more sense. And this is what it all is. It's all entertainment value. It's not professional boxing. at the end of the day. But look, no matter what, even with the weight limit that Chase DeMoor's got, the size difference is still huge, and I think that makes things very interesting. And Chase DeMoor's got the power, definitely. Um, and Andrew Tate's been inactive. You know, he hasn't fought for 5 years, and this is his first ever boxing fight. So it could be more interesting. It could be more interesting. I feel like it just got more interesting than I was originally thinking. I think Andrew Tate will win the fight, yes, but I think Chase Moore's got a chance. I'm not completely ruling him out. Obviously, you know, technical ability wise, you know, he needs coming into this. He needs to have fixed things up, but again, like Andrew Tate, this is this is boxing. It's not kickboxing. They're two completely different things. So people saying, "Oh, it's just going to be very, very, very easy for him," could be very wrong. Could be very, very, very wrong if you think it's going to be very easy for Tate. But I do expect him to win, though. Of course, I do expect him to win. Um, Press conference was interesting, though. I don't. I've seen so many people, so many edits. Like, oh, just I've seen just so many things just glazing Andrew Tate, things he was saying. But I think Chase Moore had some good, solid moments. To be honest, I really do think he did. You know, he said a few things, and he didn't really get a response out of Andrew Tate for quite a bit of it. Tate stayed silent a few things, and as well, you know. Andrew Tate saying, "Oh, I hope Chase DeMoor, you get out there all safe and good." Chase DeMoor then saying, "Oh well, I hope you end up in the hospital, whatever." And Andrew Tate is saying, "Oh, well, if you're gonna not be respectful, then oh, yeah, this will happen." But it's like Andrew Tate didn't fight Darren Till because he thought Darren Till was too disrespectful. Like Andrew Tate's got, you know, a real good reputation of being very respectful and humble. He's got a real reputation of that, hasn't he? Um, nice. It's weird. And Tate was even saying at the start, "Oh well, we need clips. We need to sell the fight." Okay, that's what Chase Moore tried to do. So you know, if you're being too respectful, I don't get it because Andrew Tate's not exactly the most respectful guy. He was talking shit all the way through, though, wasn't he? But yeah, it's whatever. Anyway, thanks for watching. But things got interesting. Things did get interesting. Chase Moore kind of mogged Andrew Tate in that face off, in the one during the day and the one at the press conference. And apparently something might have happened in the face to face as well.